You feel it, don't you? The weight in your chest when her name appears on your phone, the exhaustion that settles into your bones after every conversation, the way your energy drains the moment she walks into the room. You tell yourself it's love. You tell yourself it's worth it. You tell yourself that relationships are supposed to be hard work. But deep in the marrow of your being, you know the truth. She is not your partner. She is your parasite. And if you do not cut the cord soon, there will be nothing left of you to save. Niccolò Machiavelli understood a brutal reality that modern men refuse to accept. He knew that not all attachments are alliances. Some are chains. Some are slow-acting poisons that kill you so gradually you mistake the dying for living. He wrote that a wise prince must learn to distinguish between those who strengthen his kingdom and those who drain it. A prince who allows weakness to fester in his court will find his throne surrounded by traitors, parasites, and those who feed on his decline. You are the prince of your own life. And right now, you are allowing a vampire to drink from your neck while you apologize for bleeding. The world will not tell you this. Society teaches you to be patient, to be understanding, to sacrifice yourself on the altar of her emotions. They call it love. They call it commitment. They call it being a good man. I call it spiritual suicide. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you 7 unmistakable signs that she is not building you up, but tearing you down. These are not red flags you can excuse away. These are emergency signals that your soul is being systematically dismantled. And at the end, you will face a choice. You can continue to be the nice guy who drowns holding her above the water. Or you can become the sovereign who knows that some storms are best weathered alone. But be warned, once you see these patterns, you cannot unsee them. Once you understand the mechanics of psychological vampirism, you will see them everywhere. And you will realize that the greatest act of self-love is sometimes the willingness to walk away from what is killing you. Let's begin the autopsy of your dying relationship. Sign 1. The emotional black hole. She comes to you, always. Every problem, every crisis, every microscopic inconvenience in her day becomes a theater production that requires your full attention. Her boss looked at her wrong. Her friend didn't text back. Her coffee was cold. The weather made her sad. The silence made her anxious. The noise made her overwhelmed. And you, the loyal servant, drop everything to fix it. You listen. You console. You offer solutions. You absorb her chaos like a sponge absorbs poison. But here is what you must understand. A black hole does not consume matter to grow stronger. It consumes matter because that is its nature. It is an absence. It is a void. And no amount of light you throw into it will ever fill it. Machiavelli warned that a prince must never allow himself to be surrounded by those who take but never give. He said that men are ungrateful, fickle, and false. They flock to you in prosperity, but abandon you in adversity. But worse than those who abandon you are those who cling to you and pull you into their abyss. When a woman uses you as her emotional landfill, she is not seeking a partner. She is seeking a therapist she doesn't have to pay. She is seeking a father figure to fix what her actual father could not. She is seeking a punching bag for her unresolved trauma. And you are volunteering for the role. Ask yourself this: when was the last time she asked about your day? When was the last time she sat in silence and held space for your pain? When was the last time you felt lighter after speaking to her instead of heavier? If the answer is never or rarely, you are not in a relationship. You are in a hostage situation where you have developed Stockholm Syndrome. The emotionally exhausting woman does not want you to be happy. Your happiness reminds her that joy is possible, and she is addicted to her misery. She needs you to be as drained as she is so she doesn't feel alone in the dark. Stop feeding the black hole. Your energy is not renewable. Every hour you spend pouring into her emptiness is an hour stolen from your mission, your growth, your empire. She will call you selfish when you pull back. She will accuse you of not caring. She will weaponize your empathy against you. Let her. A king does not explain his decisions to those who have already proven they do not respect his time. Sign 2. The chaos addiction. Some women do not seek peace. They seek chaos. She picks fights out of boredom. She creates drama where there is none. She interprets silence as coldness, calmness, as indifference, and your stability as a lack of passion. She thrives in the storm, and if there is no storm, she will create one. Machiavelli observed that fortune is like a violent river. When it floods, it destroys everything in its path. But the wise man builds dikes and dams in times of peace to control the flood when it comes. A woman addicted to chaos is a flood that never ends. She is the river that refuses to be dammed. She wants you to drown with her because drowning is the only thing that makes her feel alive. You try to bring order, you try to create systems, you try to establish routines, boundaries, and calm, but she sabotages it, always. The moment things are going well, she finds a reason to explode. She digs up the past. She manufactures jealousy. She tests you with ridiculous hypotheticals. She punishes you for crimes you didn't commit. Why? Because peace terrifies her. Peace forces her to sit with herself. And sitting with herself means confronting the void inside her that she has been running from her entire life. So she keeps you in a perpetual state of emergency. You are always putting out fires. You are always walking on eggshells. You are always one wrong word away from another explosion. This is not love. This is psychological warfare. And you are losing the war by fighting it. The Machiavellian strategy is simple. Do not engage with chaos. Do not argue with the storm. You cannot reason with a hurricane. When she creates drama, you become still. You become silent. You refuse to play the game. When she escalates, you de-escalate by removing yourself. Not with anger, not with punishment, with indifference. You show her that chaos has no power over you. And when chaos has no power, it loses its appeal. But here is the truth most men cannot accept. She will not change. She will not suddenly become calm and rational and peaceful. She will leave, or she will escalate until you leave. And that is exactly what needs to happen. Because a man who allows chaos to dictate his reality is not a sovereign. He is a slave, and slaves do not build empires. Sign 3. The permanent victim. She has never done anything wrong, ever. Every failure in her life is someone else's fault. Her exes were all abusive. Her family doesn't understand her. Her friends betrayed her. Her co-workers are jealous. The universe is conspiring against her. And now, when things go wrong between you and her, it is your fault too. She rewrites history. She gaslights you into doubting your own memory. She plays the victim so convincingly that you start to believe you are the villain. Machiavelli understood the danger of the professional victim. He wrote that men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived. The victim narrative is the oldest manipulation tactic in existence. It bypasses your logic and injects guilt directly into your conscience. When she cries, you feel responsible. When she suffers, you feel obligated to fix it. When she blames you, you search your soul for proof that you are the monster she claims you are. But ask yourself this: if everyone in her life has hurt her, if every relationship she has ever had has ended in betrayal, what is the common denominator? Her. The emotionally exhausting woman refuses to take accountability because accountability requires growth, and growth requires pain, and she would rather inflict pain on you than endure it herself. So she makes you the repository for all her unprocessed shame. She projects her failures onto you. She turns you into the scapegoat for her unhealed wounds. And because you are kind, because you are empathetic, because you were raised to protect women, you accept the role. You become the villain in her story so she can remain the innocent princess. Stop. You are not responsible for her healing. You are not responsible for her happiness. You are not responsible for the sins of every man who came before you. Your only responsibility is to protect your own kingdom, and a kingdom that allows false accusers to remain in the court will eventually be destroyed by lies. Cut her off, not with cruelty, with clarity. She is not your project. She is not your redemption arc. She is a person who has chosen victimhood over victory, and you cannot save someone who is in love with their own suffering. Sign 4, the resource vampire. Let's talk about the material dimension of exhaustion. She takes, always, your time, your money, your energy, your attention. She expects you to pay for dinners, trips, gifts. She expects you to drop everything when she needs something. She expects you to sacrifice your goals, your friendships, your hobbies to cater to her whims. And what does she give in return? Conditional affection. Sex as a reward for good behavior. Approval that can be withdrawn at any moment. This is not partnership. This is parasitism. Machiavelli warned that a prince should never deplete his own resources for the sake of those who do not strengthen his position. He said that liberality, if practiced carelessly, leads to ruin. A prince must be strategic with his generosity, giving only to those who will reciprocate or serve his greater purpose. When you give to a woman who gives nothing back, you are not being generous. You are being exploited. And she knows it. She has learned that men are socialized to be providers. She has weaponized your instinct to protect and provide. She dangles affection like a carrot and watches you run yourself into the ground chasing it. But here is what she will never tell you. Respect is not built through giving. Respect is built through boundaries. When you say yes to everything, you become a utility. You become the ATM, the chauffeur, the therapist, the entertainer. You are not her man. You are her assistant. And assistants are replaceable. The moment you stop providing, she will move on to the next source, because she was never attached to you. She was attached to what you gave her. To break this pattern, you must become ruthlessly transactional. Every investment you make in her must yield a return. Not in money, in respect, in effort, in reciprocity. If she does not invest back, you withdraw, immediately, without explanation. A sovereign does not negotiate with resource vampires. He simply closes the vault. And when the vault is closed, the parasite either starves or finds another host. Either way, you are free. Sign 5. The constant critic. She never celebrates your wins. She never acknowledges your effort. She never sees your value. Instead, she criticizes constantly. You're not ambitious enough. You're too ambitious. You work too much. You don't work hard enough. You're too emotional. You're too cold. You're not romantic enough. You're too clingy. No matter what you do, it is wrong. This is not feedback. This is erosion. Machiavelli understood that the most dangerous enemy is not the one who fights you openly, but the one who slowly diminishes your confidence from within. He said that a prince must guard against flatterers, but he must also guard against those who disguise contempt as concern. When a woman constantly criticizes you, she is not trying to make you better. She is trying to make you smaller. Why? Because your confidence threatens her. Your success reminds her of her own stagnation. Your growth forces her to confront her own lack of development. So she chips away at you. Little comments, little digs, little moments of dismissal that accumulate like poison in your bloodstream. Over time, you start to believe her. You start to question your worth. You start to shrink yourself to fit her diminished vision of who you should be. And that is exactly what she wants. A woman who tears you down is not your queen. She is your saboteur. And you cannot build an empire with a saboteur in the throne room. The Machiavellian response is simple. Do not defend. Do not explain. Do not try to prove your value to someone who has already decided you have none. Simply remove her access to you. Let her criticize an empty room. Sign 6. The emotional hostage taker. She threatens to leave, constantly. Every argument ends with, maybe we should break up. Every disagreement becomes a negotiation for the survival of the relationship. She holds the relationship hostage and watches you scramble to pay the ransom. This is emotional terrorism. Machiavelli wrote that fear is a more reliable bond than love because love is fickle, but fear is constant. But he also warned that a prince must never allow himself to be ruled by fear of loss. When you are terrified of losing her, you have already lost yourself. She knows this. She uses your fear as leverage. She makes you believe that she is the prize and you are lucky to have her. And you desperate to keep her sacrifice your boundaries, your self-respect, your dignity. You become smaller. You become quieter. You become whatever she needs you to be to stay. But here is the truth. A woman who constantly threatens to leave does not love you. She loves the power she has over you. And the moment you stop reacting to her threats, the power evaporates. The sovereign strategy is simple. Call the bluff. When she threatens to leave, you hold the door open. You do not beg. You do not negotiate. You do not panic. You say, if you want to go, go. And you mean it. Either she will leave, in which case you are free, or she will stay, in which case the power dynamic has shifted. She now knows that you are not a prisoner. You are a king who can walk away at any moment, and that changes everything. Sign 7. The joy killer. The final and most insidious sign. She cannot stand to see you happy. When you laugh with friends, she sulks. When you succeed at work, she finds a way to diminish it. When you are excited about something, she drains the energy from the room with her coldness. She does not want you depressed. She wants you dependent. And dependency requires you to believe that your happiness is tied to her approval. Machiavelli observed that the most dangerous advisors are those who resent the prince's independence. They want him weak, confused, and reliant on their counsel. A woman who kills your joy is not your lover. She is your jailer, and every moment you stay, the cell gets smaller. The transformation becoming the sovereign. You have seen the signs. You have felt the weight. You know the truth. Now comes the hardest part. Letting go. Not with anger, not with bitterness, not with revenge, with cold, calculated clarity. You are not punishing her. You are protecting yourself. You are not being cruel. You are being strategic. You are not abandoning love. You are choosing sovereignty. Machiavelli teaches that a prince must sometimes make decisions that appear harsh, but are necessary for the survival of the kingdom. Your kingdom is your mind, your soul, your future. And if she is draining it, she must be removed. Walk away, block the number, Delete the pictures. Burn the bridge. Not because you hate her, but because you love yourself more. And in that space of solitude, in that cold silence where her voice no longer echoes, you will rebuild. You will remember who you were before she convinced you that you were not enough. You will reclaim the energy you poured into her emptiness and redirect it toward your empire. You will become dangerous again, focused, unstoppable. The world is waiting for the man you will become once you stop carrying dead weight. If you are ready to leave the flock, subscribe. If you want to remain a sheep, leave now. The choice has always been yours. Welcome to the inner circle.